Welcome to the Gear Garage. My name is Zach. This is my little internet show about whitewater things. I'm here with my friend Jeremiah from SOTAR. He's the Chief Executive Officer at SOTAR, runs the show here.
Yep.
And,
day in, day out.
And SOTAR stands for State of the Art Rafts.
Yes.
And we have something here that is state of the art. I feel like this is innovation, and I'm super excited to share with everybody. This is the SOTAR Stealth Kayak.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about it a little bit?
Sure. Yeah. So the kind of impetus of this this boat mostly is just that I come from a backpacking background, and but I really love whitewater, and I wanted a boat that
I'm the exact same way.
Yeah.
Like I have a backpacking background. I love whitewater. Combining the two is my favorite thing. So we're on the same page here.
Cool. So for me, I love an inflatable kayak, and I wanted that kind of performance level out of it. I want it to be rigid. I want it to be stiff, but I'm not really looking to like go on a big long trek and then bring a boat. I'm looking at trekking to where I want a boat.
Yeah.
So I went back and forth to Israel with RAS, our material suppliers, and just kind of hammered out like, how can we make the fabric stronger?
Let's go back a second just so everybody knows. ERES is a company that makes fabric, and they're based in Israel. That's where you guys get all your fabric from, just 100%. So everybody knows.
And they're great because they're, as far as material suppliers are concerned, they're pretty small. So they're willing to listen and do samples back and forth and do R&D. So when I was there, they had we get all of our fabric that's polyester. The reason why we use polyester is it doesn't absorb water like nylon does.
So when you say polyester, you're losing me a little bit.
Right.
I just think of all as urethane. It's just all urethane to me. And like, once it gets more complicated than that, I'm gonna get lost.
Sure.
So I think polyester you're saying is like the base,
right?
And the urethane's the
coating.
Okay.
So
let's just like for me, just keep it simple. It's just like it's not PVC, it's not Hypalon, it's urethane.
Sure. It's urethane.
And you're saying your fabrics. You're talking about subtle differences in like the base layer or something that I'm gonna forget anyway.
No worries. So anyway, so I was looking for something that could be as light as possible, but not sacrifice too much on strength.
Yeah.
So this fabric is it's all urethane coating. It's just reinforced with Kevlar. Okay. So basically in the weave, every 5th fiber is a strand of Kevlar.
So it's like it's a polyester weave. It's a base like almost a cloth fabric.
Exactly.
And historically, it's just polyester things. And then you're putting some Kevlar in that weave as well, which makes it stronger and lighter. Right.
So if backpacking, for instance, it's a ripstop.
Okay.
So if you have a tarp, whatever you see in the weave, there are thicker fibers. That's what we're doing.
Okay.
Just so it will stop if you do get a tear.
Is that what I'm seeing?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So these.
So the little squares, every one of the piece on the squares
is Kevlar.
Wow. Okay.
So and you can see that because it's such a lightweight fabric, the coating is thin enough. You're actually seeing the bumps and valleys of that weave in the cloth. So I love the stuff. It welds up great, holds air pretty darn well. It's got pretty good abrasion resistance. I mean, not as good as a regular boat, of course, because you have more coating. Yeah. But it holds up pretty darn well.
So it has less coating.
It has less coating.
It saves weight because it has a stronger weave, but less of the coating on top.
Yeah. So the cloth in the middle is like 2/3 the weight. Okay. And then the coating is like 1/5 the weight. Okay. So this is 15-ounce fabric versus this is 40-ounce fabric. So it's just lighter fabric.
And that's how much it weighs per
square yard.
Okay, cool.
It's good old US units. So that was the basic idea. I didn't want to do our standard SL kayak because it's really curvy, and you lose a lot of buoyancy in how much the tubes diminish all the way over the whole boat.
I totally agree.
So I wanted to be able to sleep in it. Yeah. So if I'm on the Lower Illinois or something like that in the summertime, I can throw my seam pad in it and just sleep in the boat. Yeah. Because down there, there's not a lot of good sandbars. Yeah. It's all gravel bars. None. So you're either in a hammock or you're sleeping on rocks. Yeah. So so then I ended up making all of the boat out of the Kevlar fabric, and then the floor and the backrest.
Let's go back 1 second. There's we're gonna go on some tangents here.
Sure, love it.
So like this boat to me is made for the Chetco, for somebody you hike into. Yeah. If I'm gonna do the Lower Illinois, I'm not gonna take this boat.
Because you can drive to the put-in.
You can drive to the put-in, and since it's a little bit less durable, I'm gonna take the heavier boat. Sure. So this to me is like not a Lower Illinois boat. It's more like super remote random creeks where it's like a mile or 2 to 10 miles hiking in.
See, that's exactly right. It's not like mountain lake or where you're doing like a 40 or 50 mile trek. Because it's a 14-pound boat. It's not like an alpaca or a kokopelli. It's like a 5 or a 10-pound
if you're hiking 50 miles, you're going to take the alpaca.
Exactly. And that's totally cool. That's not what I was
That's a class. So like that's always been a thing for me is there's been a class of like alpaca, and I think that Air Backraft, they're trying to fit into that, like, hey, you're a pack rafter, you're hiking in 20 miles. Most boaters aren't doing that. It doesn't need to be 9 pounds. It needs to be, in my mind, like 15 pounds and way more durable. Right. Like I give up, there's an intermediate area where like, it's not alpaca light. It's a little bit more than that, but more durable. So that sounds like that was your goal too.
That's exactly my goal. And I'm trying, and a lot of it's like, okay, well, it's maximizing your fun. Yeah. So how much time are you going to be worrying about how much weight of patch kit you're bringing? Yeah. How much time you're going to be spending patching your boat versus just playing on the water. Yeah. Now, it's not invincible by any means, but it's more durable. Yeah. That was kind of my hope. And that just brings up a lot of other things too. When I was at the AOA show, talking to a lot of people, and they liked it for this boat and for other products, small rafts, for instance, where the clientele are getting to the point where it's hard for a lot of people to carry their 13 or 14 pound boat, even just from their car, the few hundred feet down to the boat.
Or a portage.
Definitely.
A lot of my inflatable kayak friends are now in their 60s and 70s. Okay. And so like, it's exactly it. Just literally like pulling it out of the car, pumping it up, carrying it down the river is a lot. So there's a market for that for sure. But let's say there's one portage. And man, I've portaged some of these lightweight duckies, and it is night and day over like, there's ATV over there. Portaging ATV is a bit of work. Yeah. But like a lightweight ducky, it just saves your back, and especially as you get older.
For sure. And then, and even to the point where I've taken on some trips where we did portage it, and the brush was pretty darn thick. So we just quickly rolled it and then pumped it up at the end. Because it was so easy to just throw it in your backpack and carry it through. But I love this boat. It's a lot of fun.
So let's just talk about some features really quick.
Sure.
Just about it here. So the tubes are 12 inches, right?
They're like 11 and a half on the stretch, but yeah.
Okay. And what it is, it's this new boat design that I'm interested in, is where it's basically just almost a bucket boat floor. You can maybe see it, where they punch some holes in it and then put something on top that sheds the water.
Exactly.
And NRS is doing that a lot now with their boats too. It's like they're doing like a bucket boat floor, punching the holes in, and then putting in the what's that stuff called where there's the strings in between?
The drop stitch floor.
They just throw a drop stitch on top of it, and then the drop stitch breaks. You just put you just get a new one. So that's kind of what you've done. The same idea, where it has this whatever this fabric is. This thing sits on top of it. The water sheds and goes off the holes.
Exactly. And so we do the same thing for our standard SL kayak, where it has a bottom skin on the bottom. The reason we did that for the SL was for a slicker surface to slide over stuff.
Yeah, so you can kind of see the bottom there.
Yeah. So, and what we did on this one that's a bit different, the whole idea is
there's holes there too. That's cool.
Yeah, because we've got different ridges and bumps in the floor. So these will drain from the side, but if you've got channels in the middle, it'll drain from the middle. Yeah. And then we just lace it through the bailing holes. That way you have a grab handle. If the boat flips over, you can grab onto your boat.
Oh, that's cool.
It's just easier to tie it in. Then you just have the Kevlar fabric that's going to protect from punctures and abrasion. Yeah. That way you can get away with a lighter fabric for the floor, just to save some weight.
So this isn't the Kevlar fabric.
This is the Kevlar fabric. Okay. And what I've done, I've actually extended this up and over the tube. So you've got about 3 inches of double layer fabric to protect the tubes.
It's pretty thick, actually. It feels thick. Yeah, some other things. I remember we talked about this like a month ago. Yeah. But I really think is when you look at the saving weight on these things, and I've studied this hard, as you know, because these checko trips we do, D-rings are like they're heavy. And so you've done this really smart system.
Yeah, it's just a daisy chain. It's like a lot of backpacks will have these just to tie gear in. So this is literally just a strip of the Kevlar fabric. Then there's another layer underneath, and it's sewn through, so it's double layered, sewn, and then welded directly to the tube. So it's just enough slack where you can feed a strap through, a small rope or whatever to tie it in, but it's not big enough to get a finger stuck for entrapment or anything.
Definitely not that big. And also talking valves, you've gone 2 chambers. I'm somebody who's counting ounces a lot of times. I know you are too. And I've typically tried to go with just 1 valve to save weight. I've noticed you've gone 2, Is there a reason to over one?
Yeah, there are two reasons. One, it's the design that these tubes are actually completely separate, and then they're held together underneath that end cone.
Okay.
The other reason is just for me personally, I wanted an extra chamber for if I do get a puncture, I have way more than enough buoyancy to keep me up.
Okay.
So that was the valves are 3.5 ounces.
Okay.
So yeah, you're right. It does add up.
It adds up, and you have. I'm looking here. You have 1, 2, 3 of them.
Yes.
And so
4 with the backrest. 4
with the backrest. And I'm sure you probably thought about like a lighter weight valve. Why did you go with the Leafield versus the lighter?
Because I had them. I talked with Leafield a lot, and they're sending us some other versions that are lighter weight.
The new D7 or something else?
No, I think it's A4. I don't remember.
Okay.
But the problem, like you said, is it's physically too large. The problem with valve manufacturers is they're all injection molded, so they got to pump out thousands of these at a time. Yeah. So making minor changes is a huge process. Yeah. That's why a lot of the cheaper packers will have like a Boston valve because they're really, really cheap and lightweight. Yep. But I just don't trust them.
I 100% agree. Like I'm willing to give up that weight because these valves are bomber.
Yeah, it's the same as an 18-foot,
you can fix them, and they're easy to use. Pumps work with them really well. So I'm a fan of these for sure. Are there other features you want to point out? We talked about these before, but there's so many cool things you did. What else?
What we did, the material we used for the backrest and the floor, it's pretty similar to other packraft materials. It's 210 denier, it's 8 ounce, it's super lightweight. It's got the coating, it's got a real thin coating on one side and the main coating's on the other side. So I basically just weld, good coating to good coating, and I punched holes directly through the welds. So it bails through the middle of the floor instead of through the sides.
Oh yeah.
So what that allowed me to do is keep the floor against the tube. So if you inflate this boat, the floor will push the tubes out and make it more rigid laterally.
Yeah.
And two things, it made me be able to adjust how thick the floor is by just adjusting those hole spacings. And it allowed me to make this big bulge in the front, which I use as basically as a foot peg.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I do 3 holes up here because I put my heels in there, and I can just push against that big bump in the front.
So smart.
Instead of having to have metal brackets and a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I usually put a bag in the front, but sometimes you're just boating without a bag. So,
which is why I didn't have the floor go all the way up. All of our other boats, the floor goes to the very end. But it's not in the water, so it doesn't provide any buoyancy.
Yep.
So I cut that out to save the weight and to make a cavity to throw a small dry bag in.
Yeah. One other thing I just noticed is having a high backrest is pretty nice. It's nice to be upon your back for stability. It's just more comfortable too.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of the high backrest, and also being elevated from the floor a bit. It's nice to sit up.
Yes.
I think like the ATVs, you sit a little bit low when you're sitting in. It's just like I wish it was raised up a little bit. So I really like this whole way of doing it.
Yeah, and I'm trying to make the floor thicker for 2 reasons. It helps get your butt out of the water.
Yeah.
But also, if you turn the boat over, I wanted it to push this bottom wrap out to provide this kind of double angle, so that you can kind of roll the boat a little bit more on its side. So if I can kind of tilt the boat a little bit and catch an eddy line, for instance.
I have no idea if I would like that or what that means. Have you tried it?
Yeah.
Do you feel like it works?
I like it because it allows me to use like a shorter paddle, so I can tip over and then get the whole paddle in the water instead of having like a real long. Because most, you guys are using IKs for your customers all the time, and they have a big long paddles and they're just side to side kind of. But I like to really dig in deep.
I'm the same way, but most people want a long paddle. I think most people want a 230, 240, and they just want to do this. I just use my kayak paddle and like I move a lot
bend over
like that. Yeah. But I mean that's just me. So I think that the questions I keep hearing about, the 2 questions I think everybody wants to know is what's the weight and what does it cost?
So, right now we're at 14 pounds.
Okay.
That's because the backrest is about a pound because it has the extra valve and other inflatable and all that stuff. And the regular thigh straps are 3/4 of a pound or so. So it'd be about 12.5 pounds if you left this at home.
Crazy though. That's stupidly. Like I would love to see one of these that weighs even 16 pounds and like slightly thicker material. Like I'm fine with 16 pounds. Like 12 is amazing. 14 is amazing. I'm sure keeping it lighter is awesome.
The benefit though for us is that the way we design, for instance, this floor system and the backrest system, is it's pretty quick to manufacture compared to regular like an I-beam floor. There's a lot of moving internal components in an I-beam floor, so that when we have our warranty, for instance, if you do put a big hole in it, something blows apart,
you just send
a new one.
Yeah.
It's just easier.
No, my point is just like 12. I think 12 pounds is super impressive.
Cool.
14 pounds is super impressive. If it was 16 pounds, I'd be impressed. And so the fact, like, if I like, it's an impressive job you guys did to get that light, because it's such a cool boat.
But it's only 9 feet long. So if you're doing multi-day stuff, you can always make the boat longer. If you're like, this boat fits me perfectly, I might make it a 10-foot boat for you because you're a lot taller than me.
I mean, if it's me doing it overnight, I definitely want 10. If I'm carrying, sometimes I'll carry other people's gear, maybe I want even bigger, for sure. So that's the part of making custom.
Oh yeah,
SOTARs, you're like, oh, I'll just make it a foot longer, 2 feet longer.
It's super easy.
And then just, I'm sure you asked this a lot, but what's the approximate price? What are we looking at for cost?
Right now we're hovering a little over $2,000.
Okay.
With the probably enter the market with a 3-year warranty like the other pack rafts, and then if it holds up, we could make the warranty longer. I'm not sure yet. We're still in. This is the first batch of this fabric, and they're working on version 2 right now. So that's why of the fabric.
Oh, cool.
So that's why I haven't like really made a big push to sell it as of right now, because
can somebody buy one now?
Yeah.
I mean, you have the fabric, so
I have the fabric.
If somebody called you and wanted one, you can sell one.
Yes, I have enough fabric right now, I think, for 4.
Okay.
So this one, for instance, I'm taking down to California this weekend, and then after that, I'll probably send it to you.
Cool.
Yeah, there's a couple minor tweaks. This is the new backrest I just made yesterday, to be honest. I'm gonna be testing out this weekend, but if someone wants to jump in on it, I'd be cool doing that. It's just right now I don't have a MSRP because I don't know.
Yeah, no, actually, people want the approximate cost.
Yeah.
And so it's an expensive boat.
Yes.
And I think people are like, wow, that's a lot of money. And I feel like they would pay it if they feel like it's a fair price. Like, and I know I would. It just seems like a lot of money. Why does it cost so much?
Most of it right now is for the material. I don't have a set price of it yet, and I have a ballpark, so I'm working within that kind of rough number. And
is the material expensive because of the Kevlar, because it's new material, because why is the material so expensive? Okay, it's just like it's experimental material.
Right, exactly.
It also has
so
Kevlar.
you're paying for the loom time, you're paying for the coating machine time, and you're paying for the chemist's R&D time. Okay. So they're grouping all that initial cost into the cost of the fabric right now, which is the same reason why it's $2,000. Is I put a lot of time and energy and love into this boat, and that's kind of what you're paying for up front. I'm not sure if the price will drop in the future, and if that does, then the price of the boat will drop. The other side of it is the warranty. So if I just had a certain percentage and no warranty, the price would be different. But I have to
build in.
Of course. So if there ever are issues, I want to make sure that I can take care of customers without a second guess. That if there's a problem, we fix it, no matter what.
Cool. Well, I have to say, like, I've talked to you about this boat before, and there's just so many details you've thought of that I just appreciate, that you're being innovative, and like everything's been well thought of. You're testing it, putting it out there. Like, I'm super stoked on it. The last thing I just want to have you quickly talk about, you've designed this to integrate with Hyperlight packs.
Yes.
And do you want to talk about Hyperlight packs really quick and how they
they're great. So the great thing about Hyperlight is it's made of Dyneema, which is ultra high molecular weight polyethylene. So it's the same kind of material.
Wait, hold on, say that again slowly.
It's ultra high molecular weight polyethylene.
Okay.
So the difference, it's literally the same plastic as like a milk jug. It's just the molecules are so long that it is really stiff and it's really strong. So it's used in bulletproof vests and other kind of high-end applications. And it is super strong, great abrasion resistance, puncture strength. So I personally love their porter packs.
They're sweet.
They came out with a new...
That's what we use on the Chetco.
Okay, great. We got their largest size, because this doesn't pack down as small as a tiny pack raft. So we got their 5400, I think it's an 80-liter pack. It's a giant bag.
It's big.
So this takes about the bottom bottom half of the bag when it's rolled up, if you were to put it inside the bag. But I really like the way that they made their stuff sacks watertight. Dyneema is notoriously difficult to sew and to weld. I've tried to weld samples myself, and it wrinkles and peel. It's really tough. So they've developed a system where they can actually do it's a heat sealed double-sided adhesive between the seams, and that's watertight, and it's pretty sweet.
So these Hyperlight packs are just like ultralight packs that you can, with their inner packs, you can make it a waterproof system. I've done videos on these before. They're sweet. They accidentally work perfectly with a Backraft. So I've used them. Air didn't know this, but I've combined them with the Backraft.
Sure.
They work perfectly with it, and it's really cool to see you've recognized the Hyperlight's a great product to build this sort of around.
Well, and that's exactly why I went from we used to, on the first prototype, it was just D-rings and webbing loops. That's why I went to the daisy chains, because they have daisy chains on the packs. Yeah. So you can just throw the bag, and wherever there's
it works awesome.
You just tie it in. Same thing for the adjustment of the backrest. It's a daisy chain as well. So I can take that backrest out and then throw your Hyperlight bag down there, strap it in wherever you want it, and then use that as your backrest to save the weight of the backrest. So I basically got the bag, sized the boat to what would roll up and fit in the bag. Made sure the spacing inside the daisy chain would fit.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Bag. So, and I've only done one overnight with that pack, but it performed.
I've used it a ton. It's amazing. The pack itself isn't waterproof, but when you put the inside the bag inside the pack, it's like 99% waterproof.
Well, it's like we had this conversation before.
It's amazing.
It's almost as good as any other conventional roll down dry bag.
Yeah, because conventional dry bags aren't that. They're not 100% either.
No, it's splash proof. I mean, if you have a roll down dry bag and it's submerged, your stuff's gonna get wet.
Yeah,
depending on how long it's down.
Yeah. But the top down ones are not perfect. And the Hyperlight's great. We've flipped boats with the Hyperlight packs in them, and people's stuff's been dry. It's inside the pack it gets a little bit wet, but in those little tiny bags, it's dry.
Yeah.
So we're on crazy tangents right now. We gotta finish this episode. Anyway, thanks for joining us on this episode. As always, if you have questions about this pack, you can leave a comment down in the comment section below. You can call Jeremiah. He loves talking about this.
Oh yeah.
It's a pretty cool product, and I just want to again thank you for like innovating and like you put your heart and soul into this.
Oh yeah,
it definitely shows. So
it's great, and this is I love this boat, but this is stage one. The next once we get more of the fabric is going to be an R2 raft.
I love it. Oh yeah, we could go on, but you were saying you could maybe make a raft out of it someday too.
Yeah, the biggest problem I have with the lightweight fabric is making a conventional I-beam floor, which is why this has a different floor. Yeah. If I can figure that out, it'd be pretty easy to make an R2 boat 10, 11 foot, probably under 50 pounds.
Yeah, that'd be so cool. So anyway, thanks for joining us, and hopefully we look forward to seeing a lightweight raft in the future.
Yeah, sounds good.
So thanks, Jeremiah.
Thank you.